Hey OSC, welcome to another Object Show episode review. So it turns out that the long-awaited second episode of Object Madness has finally released. Emphasis on long-awaited, really. Object Madness, or OM for short, is an object show created by Phoebe or Brian N. He became famous for his outstanding animation shorts. Kind of like Zany Leaves, his object show premiered in 2016, a time where most object shows were dormant in hiatuses, or just got straight up cancelled after the second episode. The ones that were active were either PowerPoints or just plain terrible. So yeah, nothing was really happening in the object show community at the time, so OM was hyped up for its release. Not only because it was a new object show, but because it was one made by a talented animator, and his show would feature some BFDI and II contestants. I was pretty excited for that too. However, after its first episode, Object Madness just went into what I like to call hiatus hibernation. And yes, I'm going to be using that term multiple times for multiple object shows. So, OM hopped into the bandwagon of object shows with excruciating gaps between episodes. I forgot about Object Madness a long time ago, which kind of makes sense since it took 3 years for a second episode. But I don't blame Phoebe B for taking this long. I understand that making an episode alone is a challenge, since there are a lot of aspects to take into account, on top of managing a personal life outside of object shows. Also, it's quite lengthy, but because it did take this long, my expectations for this episode were high. So, how was it? Well, it was okay. Was it boring? No. There were even some parts that made me chuckle. The writing was passable, but there were some glaring inconsistencies with it, which I will get to later. The animation and visuals in this episode were great, as always. They made different assets for different angles, and I admire that kind of attention to detail. The backgrounds look like a lot of time were put into them as well. There were some parts where the pacing became unsteady, but it didn't bother me that much, probably because I'm so used to pacing issues in object shows. So it starts off with Cup and Daisy having a conversation, mostly a recap of last episode's challenge from their perspective. I actually kind of needed this because it's been 3 years since I've seen the first episode, and honestly I wasn't in a hurry to watch it again. However, I do remember Daisy having like an Eastern accent, but then in this episode they lost it for some reason. I wouldn't want to be rude to Daisy's voice actor, and this is just a nitpick at this point, but I really would suggest putting more effort into the laughter. So after that scene, Disc goes into this cabin in which Gamepad is about to watch a live stream, but then, oh no, he is unable to watch because of the crummy connection, and he goes into rage mode and the computer explodes. Axe comes in, Disc leaves, and we find out that there isn't Wi-Fi because this show is low on budget, which we've heard for a million times, but I digress. I chuckled quite a bit at the faces and the execution of the dialogue. So good job, Samuel Thornbury. Also, Gamepad gets upset that there's no Wi-Fi, which sets up for like one joke. But that's okay though. Next, we get to the team that lost, and it's a bunch of bickering because, boo-hoo, they lost. Football even says that he wants to be eliminated. Buddy, I hope you're prepared for what happens in the elimination ceremony. We actually get more character insight with Dice and Basketball about their feelings and values. Basketball expresses discomfort with Cherry pushing Cup off of Puffball, I think, and Dice responds with this little speech about how he doesn't care as long as they won the challenge. This tension between Basketball and Dice could actually build up to a conflict that causes their team to lose, and the viewers are made to vote for either Basketball or Dice. So that's pretty cool. I foreshadowed this earlier, but Football gets eliminated in the most dramatic way possible by slowly turning to stone. At least he got what he wanted. So then we are reintroduced to the fact that Object Madness TM has no funding, and Axe reveals that the last challenge was plot-driven, and so is this one because low budget. Basically, Axe tries to send this flying metal box with a picture of the OM cast to the producers, I think, but then it crashes into a tree, so the challenge is that they have to retrieve the picture. Oh, also Axe changes their team names to alliterations, which totally hasn't been done before. After the challenge starts, Dice insists that he takes over as leader, which is approved by condescending Daisy.
Dice is so gonna get frustrated with this in later challenges, and I think I'm starting to love Cherry. Both teams want to ride Puffball and Puffbull, but they refuse to be ridden because Puffball doesn't want to deal with the whining and Puffbull doesn't give a flying flarp, so then she gets slapped really hard by Candy Cane. Speaking of Candy Cane, she calls herself smart and then proceeds to demand her team for ideas because she admits that she has no clue what to do. What a bitch. So then Candy Cane gets mad and kicks Disc onto a tree and, oh, my mistake, the tree. You know, the one with the picture on it. You would think that it's just a random tree, but then Disc says that he can't reach the picture. But we never actually see it on the tree, so that's the only indication we get that this is the tree. This is where the inconsistencies start arising. But this tree thing isn't really a problem because it confirms something that we don't have to see. But it's good to satisfy the viewer with what they want to see. I mean, at least I wanted to see it. Also, the scene is kind of weird because Disc lands like this and then ends up like that, and that gets his foot stuck somehow, but it doesn't really matter. Candy Cane comes up with an idea and tells her team to get her angry. Pin fails because she's probably got a huge crush on Candy Cane. Just kidding. Tennis Ball succeeds, and he, upon almost ending Candy Cane's whole career, gets himself punched into a satellite, subsequently killing Candy Cane after falling back down. Candy Cane may be obnoxious, but I'm glad Karma's there to set things right. Wait, if Candy Cane punched him over there, how'd he end up landing on her? And Tennis Ball, aren't you supposed to be a bouncy boy? Can't they just, bounce Tennis Ball on the ground beneath the tree and be done with it? I was thinking about this for the whole scene, but then again, Tennis Ball's armless, so darn. Anyways, Dice's idea is to go climb up a mountain because the tree is near the edge of a cliff on that mountain. Candy Cane's idea is to pick up her Pin. Or was it Tack? My bad. She picks up Tack and uses her as a pickaxe to climb up the tree, which I gotta admit is pretty creative. Props for that. So yeah, you can get the picture now, right?
How do we get everyone else up here?
I'm sorry, what?
How do we get everyone else up here?
Can you repeat that?
How do we get everyone else up here?
Pardon?
How do we get everyone else up here?
What on earth is happening? I thought the goal was to just get the picture, not get the whole team on the top of the tree. So yeah, this is definitely one of the more obvious flaws in the writing of this episode, but I should cut them some slack because I don't know what happened during the 3 years of production. Phoebe B and the others working on the show were probably having a really hard time with personal situations and time management and such, so I'm not gonna bash on this too much. So back to the episode. Candy Cane kicks Tack off the tree, and the rest of the team uses her as a trampoline to jump to the top. Also, isn't Disc supposed to be in this shot? Why do I care?
Puffball?
I have an idea. Why don't you slap him? Meanwhile, on Daisy's team, they reach the cliff, Cherry boasts, and Cup goes from 0 to 100 real fast and throws Cherry over the cliff because she got annoyed.
Enough! I'm so sorry!
Oh my god! Pull me up!
I love that scene to bits. So Puffball goes to save Cherry, and Tack goes, "I've gotta wake him up somehow, guys." And hey, wait, isn't your foot supposed to be stuck somewhere? So obviously Tack hits him with a solar panel. And that's when Puffball decides to care and do something. Puffball comes back with Cherry, then picks up Daisy and Dice and goes to the tree, because Cherry wasn't capable of getting the picture themselves, I guess. Puffball and Tack are flying way too far above their team, but because Puffball is so high, he passes out again. Get it? I'm sorry, that was bad. But seriously, Puffball falls asleep mid-flight, and they plummet down the sky. Because they crash, Tack somehow grabs the picture from the metal box, and our team wins. So thanks, Puffball, for being tired. I know that I had a lot of complaints, but this episode was still very enjoyable. The characters were fun, and it gave me laughs. And I think by the end of the episode, I was officially shipping Candy Cane and Tack. A bunch of plot holes doesn't mean the episode is automatically terrible. Honestly, I don't even care about these plot holes, man. With that being said, I give this episode a 7 out of 10 for good banter. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more reviews like this one.